with me and Allah is hearing me. Bring yourself in the presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now we'll start with the protection amals, which is Surah Al-Fatiha once, Ayat Al-Kursi once, and the three quls 3 times in the order, starting from Qul Huwallahu Ahad, Surah Ikhlas, Surah Al-Falaq, and Surah An-Nas. And once you have done that, then blow it all over yourself. Now inshallah we'll get into the 3 mind states. The first one being state of humbleness, and one can think that no matter how much they worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that they really do not worship Allah the way He deserves to be worshipped. This is one statement of humbleness which we can think of or can ponder about. And once we have come into the state of humbleness, then one should try to enter into the state of shukr. And even though we do not worship the way Allah deserves to be worshipped, yet He still grants us many, many gifts, such as being here today and being able to travel towards His pleasure. Such a great gift, yet we have not done much for this gift. So be grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He has allowed us to be here. Then we will come into the final state, which is the state of reliance. That it is not by our effort that we will travel, but by relying on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and being content with His will. Only then will we truly be able to travel, when we rely solely on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and not ourselves. So come into the state of reliance. Now we will start the connection amals. We'll start up amals. So we will pray Bismillah once, Astaghfirullah 3 times, Durood Sharif 3 times, and La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah 3 times. Now we can imagine that the name of Allah is above our heads in a bright shining white color. And as we breathe in through our nose, we can see a white light coming from the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and entering through the top of our head and coming down into our body and illuminating all our body with white light. And as we breathe out, we can feel, as we breathe out through our mouth, all the negative beliefs, the stress, the worries are coming out at the same time. Now imagine the name of Allah is above our heads and has turned into a shining red color. And as we breathe in through our nose, we can see a red light coming from the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, going up our nose and coming down to the red spiritual center, which is located in the groin area just below the navel. And as we breathe out, we can see that it is cleansing the spiritual center from the back of our spiritual center. Now imagine that the name of Allah has turned into an orange color, shiny, beautiful orange color. And as we breathe in through our nose, we can see that the light is coming from the name of Allah into our nose, down our body to where the orange spiritual center is located, which is just above the navel, just on the navel. And as we breathe out, the spiritual center is being cleansed and all that filth and dirt is leaving from the back. Now we can see the name of Allah has turned into a shining yellow color, and as we breathe in through the nose, you can see the light is entering and coming through the nose, going down the body to the yellow spiritual center and entering the yellow spiritual center, which is located just above the navel. And as we breathe out, the spiritual center is being cleansed and all the filth and dirt is leaving from the back. Now we can see the name of Allah has changed into a green color, a shining green color. And as we breathe in through the nose, we see that the light from the name of Allah in a green color is coming through our nose, down our body to the green spiritual center, which is located in the chest area. And as we breathe out, you can see that the light is cleansing the spiritual center and all the dirt and filth is coming out from the back. Now you can see that the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has changed into a light blue color, a shining light blue color. And as we breathe in through the nose, you can see the light coming from the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in light blue, coming up through our nose, down our body, and to the light blue spiritual center, which is located in our throat area. And as we breathe out, we can see this light is cleansing the spiritual center and leaving from the back of the throat. Now we can see the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has changed into a dark blue color. And as we breathe in through our nose, the light is coming directly to the dark blue spiritual center which is in our forehead. And as we breathe out, the light is cleansing the dark blue spiritual center and leaving from the back of our head. Now we can see the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has turned into a white color, and as we breathe in through our nose, we can see the white light is entering into the white spiritual center, which is above the head. And as we breathe out, we can see this light is cleansing the spiritual center, and the filth is leaving from the back of the spiritual center. Now we can see that the white light is still above our head, and as we breathe in through the nose, this white light is entering straight into our head from the top and coming down our body, illuminating all our body with this white light. Every part of our body is becoming illuminated as we breathe in, and is expanding like a balloon. And as we breathe out, we can see that the light is leaving from the mouth, and the body is getting lighter and lighter. And all the spiritual centers are becoming activated. Now all our body has disappeared, and all we can see now is the spiritual centers, and our conscious and our spirit remains. As we breathe in and then breathe out, the red spiritual center disappears. Then, as we breathe in again, and then breathe out, the orange spiritual center disappears. And we can see the yellow spiritual center disappears. And the green spiritual center has disappeared. Then the light blue spiritual center has disappeared. Then we can see the dark blue spiritual center has disappeared. Then the white spiritual center has disappeared. Now we keep breathing through our nose and out our mouth. And we can see now that our spiritual figure is beginning to appear in front of us. Now we try to imagine ourselves as though we're looking in a mirror, or at least an outline of ourselves. Now we will take a few deep breaths in and out and collectively do the golden breath. We will now take the golden breath we have all now transferred into our spiritual body and can see our physical body sat. We are above our physical body. You can see the masjid around us, and now we begin to look for the teacher, Sheikh Ahmed Dabbagh, and immediately we can see that the teacher is sat with us and in front of us. And he is shining with so much beautiful light appearing from them, from their clothes, from their imamah, from their face. Beautiful light is appearing from them, shining, and it is shining in front of all of us. And they are standing in front of us, ready to greet us all. They're wanting to greet us all. They're yearning to meet us all, because they have such great love for the Ummah. So now we all, one by one, begin to greet the teacher. Some of us are very reluctant and shy. Some are very excited to meet the teacher. And the teacher is calling those who are shy that come forward and meet me. And they're embracing us all one by one. And now suddenly we are lifted to the skies and above the cloud, and we begin to travel above the clouds at such speed. And now we appear to be in Morocco, Fez, outside the grave shrine of Sheikh Abdul Aziz Dabbagh. And the teacher is in front of us, and we can see the white building with the green tiles on top of it, and the door in the center of the building, and the teacher is in front of us. We can now see this door opening slowly, and through the door we just see light shining and appearing. So much light is appearing through the door. And a figure begins to appear and comes out of the shrine. And firstly, embraces the teacher with such love. And then the teacher turns towards us and gives us permission to embrace Sheikh Abdul Aziz Tabbah. And now we begin to embrace Sheikh Abdul Aziz Tabbah, and they are calling us towards them one by one to hug and embrace them. And they are happy to see that all have come to meet them and have made the effort to sit in the retreat. And now, together with our teacher and Sheikh Abdul Aziz Tabbah, we are once again lifted up into the sky and begin to travel. And suddenly we appear in front of a shrine which has silver bars which are shining, and it is like silver metal nets, and light is appearing through all the gaps. Such strong light is appearing, and doors, these metal doors, begin to open, and light is appearing, and a figure appears in front of us, full of light. You can see they have a white robe on and Imam Sharif, and they're appearing in front of us, and they embrace the teacher with such love. And then they embrace Sheikh Abdul Aziz Tabbah. And then our teacher says to us that do not be shy and come and embrace. This is Sheikh Abdul Qadir al-Jilani. They have come and they have invited us, and we have come to their shrine to meet them. Some of us are very reluctant and fearful. We do not know how to embrace them. But they are calling us, and the teacher is helping us to go towards them. They are taking us towards them to embrace them. And individually, we are all embracing Sheikh Abdul Qadir al-Jilani. Such presence, such strength we can feel. And they tell us to the nearest meaning that, oh, my children, when you truly love Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam And when you truly put their lifestyle into your life, and their actions and your actions are like one, this is truly when you have reached Iman and Yaqeen. This is the true Iman. And this is the time to change. You have been given this opportunity. Do not leave. Do not leave without using this opportunity and becoming closer to us and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and bring others to this path. Now, before we know it, appears beneath us is a white, beautiful marble. Behind us is Jannat al-Baqi. In front of us is the beautiful green dome, and light is shining from this green dome onto the white marble in front of us. This light is so strong and beautiful and radiant. It is shining down upon us, and we are all looking towards the doors, the beautiful doors in front of the green dome. Now many of us are quivering. We do not know what to feel. We do not know what to think. The teacher is telling us that it is okay. As the door begins to open, such light and presence is hitting our hearts like we have never felt before. Such presence is hitting us, such light. These doors are slowly opening. Such beautiful fragrance is coming. A beautiful breeze we can feel passing by us. And a beautiful, enormous figure appears in front of us. Many of us have our heads down in shame. We are guilty for what we have done, for not obeying our beloved Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Many of us are so scared, yet they are so happy to see us. They are so happy to see their ummah, regardless of what state. Out of their love, they call us towards them. Oh my ummah, come towards me. Even though we are reluctant, our teacher Sheikh Ahmad Dabag is telling us to go more closer and closer, and slowly we are coming closer to our beloved Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And firstly they embrace the teacher, and through the way they hug the teacher we see how much love is between them, between the teacher and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And then they embrace Sheikh Abdul Aziz Dabag, and then Sheikh Abdul Qadir al-Jilani, and then they call us, oh my children, oh my ummah, come and embrace me, come towards me. And we begin, and people are hugging them so tightly, embracing them so strongly. The touch of your beloved Prophet around you, that presence, that feeling, the love you feel through their soft hand. People are crying, people are excited. Some people are still reluctant. The teacher is taking them one by one. And now, we're just going to have a moment with our beloved Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now, to the nearest mean, the Prophet says to us, when you truly leave that which you are attached to and give preference to my actions, to my sunnah, to my way, this is when you truly will begin to live and earn the closeness of me and the closeness of your Lord. Why wait to be reunited with me in the hereafter when you can be with me here? When you adopt my sunnah, every time you sacrifice your worldly attachments for my sunnah, each time you are becoming closer and closer. And each time you are leaving my sunnah, you are going further away. Oh my ummati, isn't it not that time that you come closer? Is it not time that you earn the pleasure of your Lord? Is it not time that we stay reunited? How much longer are you going to live in this world? How much time do you really have left? Now, the teacher, Sheikh Ahmed Dabbagh, has told us to give our final salam to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and seek their permission to leave. So now we present our salam and then we slowly go back to the shrine of Sheikh Abdul Qadir al-Jilani and seek their permission and present our salam. And then we slowly go back to the shrine of Sheikh Abdul Aziz Dabbagh, and then we seek their permission and give our salam, and then we seek permission of the teacher to return back to the gathering. They grant us permission, and we slowly come back to our physical bodies, and we slowly begin to open our eyes. Okay, if brothers want to give feedback, then inshallah. Okay. Does any brothers want to give their feedback? To raise their hands.
Assalamu alaikum. I followed all the etiquette.
Could you mention your name and where you're from?
My name is Zahir and I'm from Oldham.
Mashallah.
Yeah. As I followed all the etiquettes, I very quickly went all the way to Medina. You've seen the Green Dome. Everything happened really fast, but then after that, it just went blank.
When you say you followed all the etiquettes, do you mean?
Yeah.
What do you mean by the methodology?
Methodology.
So just take us through it step by step. So first you went through the lataifs.
Yeah. So went through all the lataifs, and when we blew basically into the
golden breath.
Golden breath. Yeah.
Yes.
I went straight to basically Medina Sharif. I seen the Green Dome, and everything's happened so fast, but then after that it just went blank basically.
Right. And when you were there, were you on your own or were you with the teacher?
I think it was I was on my own basically. Yeah. It just happened so fast. It was just like really, really quick.
MashaAllah. So MashaAllah, you had a very good brief, but very good experience as well. This is indication where when someone is first time introduced to something. Let's say your eyes were closed, like when you wake from a deep sleep, and suddenly open your eyes and you see so many lights or something, you can't make it out for a few seconds. Now imagine someone who's never seen is a person who's blind, and the first time, let's say after surgery, he had a chance to see the world for the first time, physical world. So obviously it doesn't make much sense. It's very quick. He might even say, oh, it's too much light, and it all goes dark or blank after. Similarly, spiritually, for the first time, you have now saw a glimpse of the spiritual world. And obviously, like Ustaad Siraj took us to Madinah Sharif anyway, so at a very fast pace, you had a glimpse of the Green Dome. So for one, it shows that obviously the soul, the spirit has to get used to, to the practices. So although you might be in the company of the teacher and our Ustad and brothers, but because it's like, imagine like the soul has been born into the spiritual world like a baby. So it doesn't make much sense to him or what's happening. But if we work on it now, as we have done so, and also focus on the teacher with you, you'll see this will get better and better, inshallah. It'll become more stronger as well as a result, inshallah. MashaAllah. Want to mention something?
Assalamu alaikum. Alhamdulillah, brothers, I could follow all the procedures, you just been telling me, all the latifas, and then transfer myself, to the formers. Then alhamdulillah, I was meeting my teacher, Shaykh Ahmad al-Dabaq, Ajaz. Then after that, we went to Ziyarat of Sayyidina Abdul Aziz al-Dabaq. Then we went to Madinah Sharif, I see the dome, green dome, the door was opening, alhamdulillah. Ajaz was talking to us, right? I couldn't see anything else after that. It was like a bright light, I couldn't see anything else after that.
How were you feeling at the time when you were experiencing?
Alhamdulillah, I was very, very happy and grateful,
And do you remember what conversation you had?
No, really, I can't. I wasn't following the conversation, no.
And the before Salat al-Dhuhr, how was that experience?
Alhamdulillah, it was a very good experience. I was like mentioning to you another room,
Yeah.
It was first time, opening my eyes to see, to travel to different world, It was a good experience, alhamdulillah.
And you were telling us in the aftermath, your thoughts and process of what you were going through. So if you want to share that with us again for the benefit of everyone.
Alhamdulillah, first of Allah, we've been trying for something, and alhamdulillah, we almost gained the result for it, We've been transferring, I could meet my teacher, I could meet Sheikh Ahmad, Morocco, Abdul Aziz al-Dabaq. But it's like I'm lost out there, brother. I see myself, and when I'm coming back, I try to come back, say, but I lost there. I don't know what to do.
So inshallah, a person will go and have different feelings, and he should ponder upon what one has seen, and it's supposed to encourage you to see this world in a more different light. That's the whole point of this unveiling, is that when you return to this world in your day-to-day life, that it has an effect with you, that it lasts afterwards as well, like as though you're still there. So now we have returned but some of you may still be feeling that you are still with Sayyidina Abdul Aziz Dabbar Rahmullah or Mashayikh, and you are still there as though still witnessing. Or if you do not, or you can feel their presence, and that's what it's meant to do, and meant to be the feeling of. And a person's supposed to keep that feeling and that presence throughout the whole day. And the purpose is quite simple, really, is going back to the 5 amals. Physically, one is supposed to be doing this because it has an effect in the spiritual world. Like we mentioned in the room, whatever you do in the physical world, it has an effect in the spiritual world as well. So for example, in the last one, it was mentioned, Ustaad Ajaz mentioned that what question will you ask Sayyidina Abdul Aziz Dabbar Rahmullah? If you had the opportunity and you were given the opportunity, what will you ask? And many people asked, but many people were not able to ask there in the spiritual world because they didn't have tongues, they didn't have even mouths. Because in the physical world they've been using their tongues and their mouth and their body in a different light. So sometimes the way you use your physical body in the spiritual world, it reflects it. So even though we see our hands, our eyes as the human nature, but the spiritual world, it could be the animalistic nature, like the tongue of a snake, the eyes of an animal, feet of another animal, and it could be like this as well. But imagine this, even though people are coming like this in the spiritual world, and in the physical world people are coming to the awliya, they never actually tell them that they cannot help them. They still help them whatever means that they can. And this is why they want to prepare you to meet the Prophet ﷺ when you are fully like the blessed reflection of Hazrat Adam ﷺ and the means of the ummati of the Prophet ﷺ. Imagine, this is how they want to prepare you to meet the Prophet ﷺ. Everyone wants to urge to go in the presence of the Prophet ﷺ, but this is, they want to train you the adab, thankfulness, train you for purification. So when you meet them, is as though you've seen, and you don't need to need anything else really. You've seen and experienced everything. So inshallah, more just with practice of the transfer and focusing on the teacher and the 5 amals, inshallah it will progress, and inshallah with more presence, inshallah throughout the whole day you will have that feeling of being in their presence. So inshallah we can carry on with, so alhamdulillah, mubarak inshallah on your experience, and inshallah may Allah increase it even more, intensify it inshallah.
So inshallah, especially brothers who have not had a chance yet, I know some are shy, but here it's not about being shy, it's about sharing your experience so we can learn from each other inshallah. So everyone will have a go, like we said. Those who think they want to speak in another language, like for example Urdu, then you could do so as well, or even in Bangla language as well. And alhamdulillah, our brothers are bilingual, multilingual as well, inshallah. Brother maybe here, just one of them, seated there.
My name is Daniel from Halifax. I couldn't really see much, to be honest. It was all black, but I could feel the presence of like Hazrat Saab and the Sheikh Abdul Aziz Dabbar's, their presence, Sheikh Abdul Qadir Jilani's, and the Prophet Muhammad's. I could like feel the presence, but everything around me was just like all black. And that was about it.
So you can turn that off inshallah. So before starting the session, were you at the very beginning or did you come in between? Okay, so this is the reason really. So one of the key things that we tell everyone is that you should come early for the session. To be honest, you should come before the session even begins. If you come in the late or the halfway between the session or after it starts, then this is the effect of it as well. Because what happens is that the ruh needs to be prepared even before traveling. It's like, for example, before Salah, the Prophet ﷺ never really used to speak to anyone before Salah. They used to focus because they will be meeting Allah Azza wa Jal in Salah. So sometimes it has an effect on the person that the more you prepare yourself physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, in all angles, when you do any action with true sincerity, then Allah Azza wa Jal will be the one who will take you in His presence. Because if you do not, then what happens is that the body or the heart or the spirit or yourself is trying to reach something that it cannot reach as such. So you can only reach to one extent and everything else will become blank. So one of the things you should do is, if it does go blank, bring the 3 keys in your mind and your heart, that Allah Azza wa Jal is watching me, Allah is hearing me, and Allah is present with me. And then divert your attention towards the reliance on Allah Azza wa Jal and the presence of the teacher. Then imagine that the teacher is approaching you and you are giving as though your hand to them, and then they are taking you. And that's all you should think and believe, and then let your imagination and let it flow, that then they are taking you somewhere and you are feeling that experience and that thought.
Is there any more from the front brothers who haven't spoken, would like to give their experience?
We're going to probe you. If you don't volunteer yourself, we're going to volunteer you.
There's a brother up there.
Yeah.
You raise your hand. Okay, just give it to
Just
someone.
give it one of the brothers.
Whatever you experience.
My name is Ustaad. I'm from Oldham. So at the beginning, when you said to meet the Sheikh, it was like in Peter Pan, you know, when the Sheikh, like when they're flying, it was like that, and he was like flying up there. And then everybody joined him and went to Fez, is it? Where the building was. The door opened, but I didn't see the Sheikh. And then from there, they went to the other place to meet Abdul Qadir Jilani. But like you said, he was a big guy, but he was only small how I saw it. Like he was only a little man. And then when we went to Medina, I saw the graveyard. And then when you mentioned the gates opening, it was like some big golden gates, but I don't know what it was. And then the person on the other side had like a grey beard, but I didn't see no facial features or anything. And then they held my hand and took me, like walked a bit. But it just all feels like, you know, when you read a book and you imagine the stuff, it just all feels like that, just imagining all this stuff, reading a book.
This is your the first session or the one before Dhuhr? Ajaz, mashallah. And obviously you managed to go to all the spiritual centers and transfer. Okay, mashallah. Then again, it's actually easy because the second part, the flying, the Peter Pan part, and all the experience is quite, mashallah, good and quite vivid because you can describe quite well as well. So that's a classic example where the transfer has happened. Alhamdulillah. Remember, like, many people might think that, oh, how is it this is happening? I'm not really fully practicing yet, or I've got so many weakness. In fact, one of our brothers were mentioning. Also know that because in a gathering, it is said that in a gathering, the angels roam around and descend. And if someone is not very sincere, but is in the gathering, due to the blessing of being of the pious, ustads and brothers, then, ourselves are also benefit as a result as well. So that's also almost like a hired or a borrowed, a further or a favor from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through our pious brothers and the teacher as well. So what that indicates from what you're describing is very good, because some of the things that you mentioned, our Ustad Siraj had not mentioned these details. So that's an indication that, mashallah, you had even a brief but a spiritual experience. Now, how do you then learn from and benefit from? Is when you practice and learn these sessions we go through, then you learn better and how to structurally benefit from these things as well, in terms of drawing lessons and understanding. But remember this, again, first of all, congratulations. Remember these experiences now, if we really focus, it should really transform our life. That's the whole purpose of, experiencing. We're not just doing experience for the sake of experience, just because I want to have a good time. Well, obviously, that's part of it, mashallah, if you are enjoying. Especially after a nice meal like that. But the main thing is then you use that ammunition as a motivation to really transform and change your life. Like the Ustad Abdul Rahim was saying yesterday at the beginning, that we are already engrossed in dunya in terms of our minds, our bodies, our psychology, our desire, everything is engaged, because we see this world and the beauty and the attraction 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. He gave example of the Coca-Cola advert or a McDonald's. Why people are why they're so popular? Is because it's always in your face, they're showing this. Whereas when it comes to our faith, it's believing the unseen. That's it. So if you compare the two on a practical level, the dunya is in a way winning because of the fact that it's always on our face. And psychologically, people who do marketing and psychology, science of the people, behavioral science as well, is that something that is always in your face, that tends to have an effect in your life. So likewise now, if you tend to have more and more spiritual experience, interact with the other world, interact with the pious and righteous, like you're mentioning, go to the beautiful place in Muqams, then slowly that turns you away from this rat race of dunya and towards deen and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But you still have to put the effort in, but makes that easier as well. So that's the real message you should take away from this. And then in spiritually as well, that's just a beginning point. Remember, like the brother was saying, he just saw the Medina Sharif and that's it. Remember, this is just a beginning. Here we see and taste. It's not just, that's it, here you go. You've seen, you tasted, there you go, it's closed again. Go away now. What it is, this is just a beginning point where you can build on, work on, to become better and better. Like Ustad Ajaz was mentioning, the 20 points of realization, whereby if you slowly work towards it, comes to the point where maybe in 6 months, year, couple of years time, where you don't really need to do too much practices, all these spiritual centers, you're almost always there, experiencing the spiritual world as well as this world. How wonderful that life is. For that person, he doesn't have to wait until Akhirah to see Jannah. He's got the glimpse here already. So that's where we want to go and take us, inshallah. Jazakallah for your feedback, inshallah. The namaz is at 1:15, inshallah, so we've got 10 minutes. So if there's no more, but those who are still maybe hiding behind the chairs, I know a few at the back, inshallah, we'll find you out. There's no pillar or anything else, like Brother Siraj was saying. We'll ask you for your feedback. It's very important, mashallah, you giving time. You giving time, you giving, spending away from your family, your work, other commitments. I'd rather you share your experiences or any difficulties or questions, clarify that, so that you take away something from this. At the end of tomorrow, you take away something that you can practice upon and change and transform your life. Always remember this. This is just a beginning point. Like they say, this is should be your like a born again life, if you had that term before. Like you want to refresh your life, inshallah. So we'll ask everyone here and get an opportunity as well. So I think we'll have time for that after Maghrib. So now it's Asr Salah. After Salat al-Asr, our Ustad Siraj Munir will go through very beautiful presentation. Just all these brothers who have glimpses of experiences. What he will do is show you the full spiritual map, step by step. If you really want to traverse and advance in your own time, months, years, whatever, then how do you progress one after another? And then what happens when you actually eventually return back and live in the world as well. So it's a very, very important, very fascinating presentation. He'll show you some of the goals and objectives and what the journey is, full map is like, the spiritual map. So he'll present that from Asr, after Asr till Maghrib. Then after Maghrib, inshallah, Muslim Azkars and any feedback, we'll have time to rest until Isha, inshallah. And obviously, if you want to see any Ustads one-to-one, any questions, any queries, please register with like Siraj and Siraj, inshallah. And then they'll arrange to see Ustad as well throughout the next 24 hours, inshallah. Okay, Jazakallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
ठीक है अब मोलेस्टोर है